In part 3, I'm going to walk you through how to create a literary thesis statement. Now, there's two types of theses. There's one that's focused on theme, and then there's one that's focused on technique. So this would be the writing strategies that the author uses to convey their point in the story. All right, so if you want to choose a writing thesis on theme, that means you want to focus on what the story means, what it's about, what its greater lesson is, then this would be the thesis for you to use. So before you write on theme, you have to kind of answer these questions. What to you is the message of the story? Why is this message important to the story and to us? And what is this story's universality? And what I mean by universality is that this message could apply to a lot of different people. It's not just something that applies directly to the characters in the book or directly to you, but it can apply to everyone. Then lastly, how does the author convey this message or this universality? Okay, what literary devices are used? So again, that's where you want to go to that page 220 in those list of glossary terms like plot, character, point of view, symbolism, etc. And you want to be able to point to at least two of those literary devices and how they point back to the theme. And once you've done that, then you're kind of ready to fill out your template for your theme, which would be like this. In the title of this work by this author, we can see the theme is important to the story and us because, and then we'd state why. And then we could say the author shows us this theme through these two devices that they use. Okay, so that would be how you would write a thesis based on a theme. If you want to write a thesis just based on writing technique, maybe you find some aspect of the story, like how the characters develop, very interesting, or the use of symbolism in the story, then this might be the thesis that would appeal to you. To prepare you for it, you need to answer these questions. What aspect of the story poem interests you? Again, those are those literary devices, the same ones that you filled out for the glossary and development exercise that was due Thursday. Then you would say, why is this aspect important to understanding the story or poem? Maybe what does this aspect reveal about the story? And how does the author create this in the story? And what literary devices are used? Okay, so, and then you would give at least two examples. So here's an example template of this working as a thesis. In the title of this work by this author, we can see the author uses these three devices or these three aspects to create blank. All right, now here, let me give you some practical examples to help you see how these two thesis statements differ. So if I were to do theme on Close, which was the short story you read in chapter 2, this might be what I would say. In Close by Citra Banerjee Divakari, we can see that developing independence needs encouragement. This theme is important for us to consider because we should not assume that independence is a static trait that doesn't need developing. Divakaruni shows this to us in Close by Sumita's immigration to the U.S. away from her family, by Somesh's encouraging her to wear Western clothes, and through Sumita's fantasizing about working in the shop. All right, so you can see here the theme is developing independence, or independence needs encouragement. That's the theme, okay? And we're stating why it's important because we need to assume that independence needs developing. It's not just static. And then there's listing three ways that this is seen through immigration, through the clothes, and then through kind of fantasizing about working in the shop, okay? Now, if we were to do technique, this would be how we could write a thesis. In Close by Citra Banerjee Divakari, we can see that I'm not 100% sure how to say her name, but I believe it's Divakarani, uses internal dialogue, details of Sumita's clothes, and the first person point of view to show Sumita's growing independence. So notice how this thesis is saying some of the same things, but their focus is different. Okay, they're still saying all these techniques are used to show growing independence, but they're focusing more on the aspects, the techniques of the story, like the internal dialogue, the details of the clothes, and the first person point of view. Okay, so this one is focused on technique and this on theme. So right now what I want you to do is go into the worksheet and write your own working thesis statement for the responding to literature essay based off of the story that you chose for your glossary and development exercise.